So I started trying to hog out these washers to use on my intake manifold, but those are grade 8 and my cutter wouldn't hardly touch it. So we're going to change it out and try for some regular washers and see how that cutter works. Changes, we finally got one that'll do the job, and it's cutting now. Probably got another 20 thousandths to go. I'll bring you back. Okay, here's what we're looking for. There it is. Just fits in. Perfect. 3 more to go. Then we can weld them up. That is a snug fit. And I'm going to have to tap it in to get it to go in all the way. But that's just exactly what we want. Okay, so I've got my washers all machined so they fit over the tubes. Some of them fit better than others, but they sit on there. But before I weld them, I want to mark off my gaskets and cut them out and drill the holes. And you can see this here is for the carburetor. This one here is where it mounts down against the cylinder. And so I'm going to mark them out. And the reason that we have to be careful here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, the bottom one first. This is the one that mounts down onto the cylinder block. I'm going to mark this one, cut it out, and weld it on, and then I will bolt it in place on the cylinder so that when it comes time to do this, I will have my washer loose, and I will have this bolted down, and I can then put my carburetor on. And with my carburetor in place, I can rotate the carburetor till I get to the place where it will be square with the engine. Because this mounting surface and this one here are not square to one another. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the carburetor. And you see the bottom of the carburetor, the flange is offset. It's at an angle. So if I were to mount this square, which on the engine, these are square, front to back, but my carburetor, to get it square, it's going to have to mount at an angle to get it to be square with the block. And it's important that I get them centered on the tube. And it helps if you don't have shaky hands. And it's okay that my mark is outside of the gasket, because that'll give me some shaving room, don't you know? Once I get it cut on the bandsaw, then I can grind the edges and bring them down flat. So there's the layout for the side that will go down onto the engine block. And this one here, I can actually take it right off, and I will line it up with the washer and mark it out as well. There's one bolt, here's the other bolt. A little bit of finished grinding, sanding, and we'll see how, well, we'll see how it fits right now. How's that? Let me get a carburetor. There's the carburetor. If I can get it swung around here so you can see it's still a little bit warm. If I get it lined up. There it is. So we'll finish cleaning it up. And yeah, that'll take care of one carburetor flange. 3 more flanges to go. That's what we're using. So we've got a little polishing action going on. Let me back you out a little bit here. A little bit of polishing action going on inside there. Yep. Cleaned up the edges. I'm going to run it on the belt sander one more time to flatten these out one more time. Then I think we're ready to try installing it with a carburetor in it. What do you think of them apples? Well, there we are, our first intake manifold done. And I noticed I had marked these, and look at that, it moved when I welded it. I think the one on the top is okay, but it moved, and just that little bit is enough to throw my carburetor out of square with the engine. So what I'll have to do, I have enough room down here on the bottom flange that I can slot those holes just a little bit, so I can twist this just a little bit, just enough. Put a little slot here and a little slottage here, and give me just enough twist to be able to get it squared back up. But we can deal with that. I am going to be getting cap screws, stainless steel cap screws. Let me see, button head screws, not cap screws. Button head screws. See if I can find one here to show you. I have Phillips somewhere in here. I have, I think, one. Here we go. Button head, stainless steel. And that's what I will use. These regular Allen head screws, I'm probably still going to have to modify my Allen wrench because there's not enough room to get the Allen wrench in there. But if I have a button head, it's got a shorter head. It's also a broader head. And then I can put them in there. And if I have to cut my Allen key down a little bit shorter, I could do that right now. I can't really get it in there square to tighten up my screws. Just barely get it in there. Well, that's it. So one is done. I probably will sandblast the whole thing and then prime it and paint it. And you can see we have pretty good finish on the edges. It's nice. Came out pretty nice and clean. See that? So a little bit of sandblasting action, get rid of the darkness here from welding it. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry for the shaky cam. It's late in the day, going on 7:45. I came back out after supper. I wanted to get one of these done. So, yeah, I have all of my mating surfaces cleaned up. I started off just doing for the carburetors, but I figured while I was at it, I might as well do for the exhaust and for the breathers. And you can see our governor plug down in there. Our mating surfaces are all nice and polished. And I've got a brass T-fitting here that is for our, it will go into this fitting down here on the bottom of the carburetor. Right there. That's for the impulse, because this is an impulse pump here on the front of the carburetor. Each one has. So I've teed it off, so we'll have one over here. And I've got some brass elbows coming to go on there. So one over there and one over to here. And what I am planning on doing with my breathers, I have modified them. Both of these breathers, these are crankcase breathers, normally have larger plates on them that cover large pieces. This one goes down in here, I believe. Go ahead, drop it on the floor, George. This one goes down in here like this. And the other one goes down in here like that. And there's rubber hoses that went into these, that went up into the original air cleaner. And I have those rubber hoses still. What I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to stick one on each side, you know, one over here, like that, and the other one over here, like that, and I'll bring them up together in the middle, and I'm probably going to be cutting them off just above the elbow, maybe below the elbow, and putting the two of them together so that we can have one breather taking care of both sides. So we'll see how that works out, but that's my plan at the moment. And my next big chore after I get my other intake manifold made is to figure out how we're going to mount throttle linkage. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Did you say fun? And then we also are going to have to work on choke linkage and get those to work together. So yeah, it's not a simple project, but you know, somebody asked me, why didn't you just put a drive shaft in it and be done with it? I said, well, the reason I put chains on it is because, number one, that's what I had, and I already had the transmission, which was chain drive, and I already had the right angle drive, which I made into chain drive. It had a pulley on it originally. But you know, the whole project is to just prove that I can make it work. Whether it's right or wrong, that's not the point. The point is, can we make it work? And well, we've already proved it. We had it running and we've broken it, but it was going, and I think it's been up to probably 40 miles an hour, maybe more. Never had an actual speedometer on it. We're going to take care of that with this new motor in place. We'll make sure we speed test it. But it's been a fun process, and we're learning as we go. So, thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, thumbs up, sharing, all them good things. Next one, we'll have 2 carburetors in place and working on our linkage. Any ideas you have, I'm always willing to listen. Thank you. Bye now.